Today's chapter is a brief history of our economy. By our economy, I'm referring to the global economy. In the long history of time, too many nations have been born, too many have fizzled out, and too many boundaries have shifted by too much. So while reviewing the full history, we need to keep that noise out and look at the history of the global economy. The history of our economy is very closely tied to the development of technology. These technologies have helped us improve farming and use of raw material, improve construction, development of tools and machinery, improvement in healthcare, and improvement in storage and processing of information. All of these together have helped us improve production, trading, distribution, and consumption. All in all, allowed us to have a better and stronger economy. While looking at the overall history, I divide it into four different segments. Number one, foundational developments. Number two, agricultural revolution. Number three, industrial revolution. Number four, information age. Let's go one by one. Foundational developments are those developments that allowed us to build the foundation of technology. It allowed to build us the foundation of a civilization that would progress in time. I'm going to just mention a few key developments in this case, and this is going into essentially prehistory. First is domestication of animals. Next one is invention of wheel. Next, invention of fire. And then there are a bunch of developments that you would put under developments that happened within the Stone Age. All of these together are foundational developments. As I mentioned, very important to lay the foundation. Now the next stage is agricultural revolution. The agricultural revolution happened in two different phases, so-called two different revolutions, as defined by historians. The first one is called First Agricultural Revolution, obviously, also called the Neolithic Revolution. This is the initial phase of agriculture coming into our civilization. This happened over a long period of time, mostly started in the Middle Eastern area. And at that point in time, it overall allowed us to move from a hunter-gatherer lifestyle into a lifestyle of farming and settlement, which added on a lot of improvements, provided us opportunities to improve in many ways because of the aspect of settlement, being able to settle somewhere, being able to farm and store our production. That's the first one. The next one is Second Agricultural Revolution, which is an added layer on top of the First Agricultural Revolution. During the Second Agricultural Revolution, which happened from around like mid 17th century to about late 19th century, it initiated in Great Britain and then eventually was transported and adopted across the globe. That included a lot of improvements into how land was used, cultivated, how agricultural crops were processed, treated, and there were many scientific developments within it. Again, we'll not go into depths of it, but there were many bits and pieces that allowed a huge improvement in production in farming. Overall, this is a long duration between the two revolutions, agricultural revolution, but they allowed us to produce essentially food for sustaining and growing our populations. Moving on, next is industrial revolution. Now there are essentially two key revolutions in this form. The first one obviously is also first industrial revolution, which would be from around the mid 1760s to around 1840s timeframe. This is a period when kind of the human economy moved towards a much more widespread and efficient uses of stable manufacturing processes. It it is a phase wherein we saw the basic structure of an industry being set up. That's why the first industrial revolution. Moving on, then we get to the second industrial revolution, which saw a rapid increase in the mass production. So in this case, the scale increased from scientific discovery, standardization, mass production, industrialization, etc., allowing manufacturing output to increase many folds. The duration is from around 1960s to about 1920s. Overall, industry grew rapidly during this time frame. It also saw a large population move from rural areas into urban areas. Moving on, the next one is information age. So information age is actually also known as the third industrial revolution. It has many other names. Essentially, the point here is that this specific revolution allowed us to better use information for our purposes, and it had a massive impact in terms of how it helped us from an economic standpoint. It has many names: electronic age, computer age, digital age, silicon age, new media age, etc., etc. This happened somewhere around like mid 1900s. I would put it roughly around 1947 when the transistor was developed or invented, and then it carries on even now to this day. Now, obviously, as we move through, there are many other technological developments continuing, and every day we come across another name in terms of a revolution that they call out, including, let's say, for the latest one is the AI revolution. All in all of these different stages allowed us to better produce, to better use resources within our economies, to be able to support a bigger, larger population, and population also continued to grow as the mechanism to support bigger population continued to develop. That pretty much is it in terms of the history, brief history of our economy's development, which is, again, as I mentioned, is very closely tied to the development of technology. Thank you.